Hello and welcome to our Behind the Curtain North American Paperboard Packaging Competition webinar today. We are really excited to peel back the curtain and talk to you about what the judging process looks like and some tips and tricks so that you can submit your very best entry and let the package speak for itself. So as we dig into what we call the Oscars of the paperboard industry, I'd like to introduce you to my colleagues, Brian Westerland, who is the Director of Communications for the Paperboard Packaging Council, Irene Costello, who is the Marketing Manager, and myself, who is Director of Marketing. And we're really excited to be here with you today. We are intimately involved along with a lot of our other team members at PPC, but we're very intimately involved in the Carton competition process behind the scenes and coordinating the entries and the information and the judging process. So we're here today to share with you some of the tips and tricks that we've learned along the way. Today, we're going to go through all of the categories and show a little sampling of some of the top entries that we've received over the last few years. We're going to do a deep dive into the judging criteria, and Brian is going to help you understand what the judging process looks like to give you a little bit of a intimate look into what happens when you send in your entry. Brian's going to go through the value of a strong write-up and also talk through a specific example so that you can see how to improve your writing process. We'll take a look at photos and we'll even look at a video example and talk about how to use photos and videos to support your entry. Irene is going to go through the timeline and the process and what dates should already be on your calendar, and then we'll open up the floor to questions. But before I dig in here, I do want to invite anybody on this call to submit your questions through the chat, and we would love for this to be an interactive behind the curtain experience. So if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to enter them into the chat, and we will be happy to address them and dig in. And if we can't answer a question, we'll be happy to follow up. All right, first look at our submission category. So every time that you submit an entry, it is automatically put into the general category. So there's nothing that you need to do. It is submitted into this general overall category. Then there are three specific categories: sustainability, innovation, and digital application. You are required on your application page, on the first page, to check box, if you want your entry to be judged in sustainability, innovation, or digital application. But that is not only the only step you need. You need to designate that on the first page, and then you are going to need to submit the write-up for that portion. So there are specific questions for each of those categories that you do need to fill out and address in order for your entry to be looked at, not only in the general category, but in those special categories. We're going to move into sustainability. The sustainability category recognizes the outstanding use of paperboard in replacing non-paperboard substrates, and also fostering, material reduction for better cubing. So we have this sample here from 2019, and the first alert sustainability security package by WestRock successfully reduced the use of plastic by 61% from the before to the after package. So that won Sustainability of the Year for its plastic reduction, as well as our 2020 by Graphic Packaging International Paper Seal. They created a paperboard package to completely replace the plastic meat packaging that existed. So those are two examples of the top awards for sustainability. Next, taking a look at innovation, which recognizes new and unique package or graphic design, converting techniques and other concepts otherwise new to our industry. In 2019, we look at Tab, and that showcased the tamper evident lock. And we like to say internally, keeping our French fries safe from delivery drivers. So that was a really phenomenal package in the innovation category. And then 2020, the Graphic Packaging International Patagonia 6-can kill clip. And what is so special, not only is it replacing the 6-ring plastic holder, but it's also creating a billboard and a platform for advertising. So that was our 2020 Innovation of the Year. Digital application, recognizing the excellent use of digital printing and converting technology. So 2019, Kroger Home Chef Sleeves by Zombiel Packaging. This wake of the home chef, and having food available in the grocery store that is chef quality. This won the award because they would receive 24 files for a new sleeve, and that same file would hit the shelves within 2 weeks. So being able to leverage farm fresh ingredients and hit the shelves within a 2-week process won the award for digital application. And then our 2020 digital application of the year, the M&M's NFL by West Rock. I'm not going to dig into what makes that or what made that so special, just because we're going to be using that as our use case and showcasing, you kind of take a look at this in and of itself, just sitting there. It might not have as much weight as when you take a look at the explanation and the story behind the package and the photos and the video. So we'll kind of dig in to that as an example to give you some ideas as to how important the process is of submitting all of the different sections of your application. Next up, we're going to take a look at our judging criteria. And so we convene, professionals, experts, engineers, professors as our panel of judges. And we put them through a pretty intense process of judging. And I'm going to hand the floor over to Brian to talk about the integrity of that process and exactly what that looks like, because I think that is going to help when you submit your entry to understand what the judges are really looking at and what is the process of accepting your entry and then moving that into a top category.
Thank you, Emily. Yeah, so the process has around 3 phases. The first phase is after the judges take a look at all of the entries as a whole, and we'll lay them out in our office so the judges can walk around, see what's different between different categories, what's new in the food category this year, what's happening in cosmetics. Then the judges will go and sit down and judge each entry on the 3 areas you see on the screen. So they'll score each of these on a 1 to 5 scale: concept and design. What is the goal of the project? What is the vision? How did the design play out? And so on. Converting and distribution. This is the execution. This is how is it made? What processes were chosen? And how does it ship? How does it pack? Fulfillment. How does it get to the end user, the retail of the store? How does it look on shelf? And how does the consumer engage with it? How did it meet its goals? Did it sell? Did it not? And so on and so on. These 3 things will roughly take us through from the beginning stages, conception, all the way to the store shelf to purchase. So after each package is judged in these 3 areas, and the scores will be averaged, then we'll do a cut at a certain point in the scaling, the judging between golds and excellence or silvers. And there is an opportunity, the judges will go and look around, and we'll have visual representations of what got a gold, what got a silver, what got a bronze, or a box maker, we call them. And that gives them the opportunity to say, oh, well, you know what? I saw something in this box and I think we missed this. So let's take a look at this box again and say, maybe this actually does deserve a gold instead of a silver like we have it now. So after that process of cross-checking, we go to the final phase of the judging, which is where the judges will look at all of the gold entries. And from there, they'll determine the top winning packages, such as package of the year, folding carton of the year, rigid box of the year, and so on and so on, most of which were boxes that Emily talked about as examples in the prior slides. So that's just a snapshot of, it's a pretty rigorous process, and we're pretty proud of what we do and how we come up with the winners. It's a lot, and we're happy with the results.
I think that also the fun aspect, we had 7 judges last year, and I think we're right around 7 or 8 each year, and hearing the passionate conversations and discussions and arguments, and being able to really see their different areas of expertise applied to this judging process. It's something that the judges mark on their calendar year to year, and are excited to come and fight for the top entries. And so I think that's just one of the key aspects of this is the passion and the rigor that they apply to the process.
Yeah, there are a lot of dynamic discussions. I don't know if they might not be heated, but there's definitely discussion. Well, we hear that every year.
It's fantastic.
All right, so moving on, we'll see on the next slide is an example of all the categories in the write-up. So we're going to move on and talk a little bit about the write-ups here. Each write-up, you must fill out the executive summary. That's going to be your key points, basically the key message that you want the judges to get. However, we do strongly suggest that you take time to fill out all of the rest of these categories. And that's really designed to give the judges the full story of the carton, from that area of conception to all of the way to the store shelf. So just to give you a little idea of what is a good write-up, we are going to go through the executive summary of our 2020 digital application of the year award, which went to Westrock for their M&M's NFL carton. And to give a broad overview, basically they Westrock, their customer was Mars Wrigley, and they wanted to make the most of a sponsorship with the NFL. And so what they decided to do, this is specifically with the Green Bay Packers, they would use their digital technology to print new sleeves for M&M's packaging each week with updated game scores. So, since games were on Sundays, this required a really fast turnaround, and using that digital technology, they were able to get it to stores distributed. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. So really fast turnaround there. So, and I do think we want to see, it looks, without the story, it looks like any other box you'll see. And that is really the, I guess, moral of the story here, is that you need to tell the story. You need to show us what is special about your package. And, and there is a story for everyone. Everyone has a problem that it's solving. Everyone has different graphic elements, and consumers engage with them in different ways. So this is just the executive summary for that M&M's carton. And you'll see this first line here, "Go, Pat, go," which is to say, feel free to have a little bit of fun with these. The judges read hundreds of them. So what can you do to stand out and really make the reading experience enjoyable for them? And by the way, the judges do read them. They will sit down and have them in front of them and read to the group. So it's not something they gloss over. It's really important to them. So in the second full paragraph here, which is highlighted, they began to tell the story. They wanted to, for 16 weeks in the season, they printed the scores. And they talk about how they use their digital press. And importantly, they highlight here what was the problem, or what was the goal that their customer wanted. And the goal here was to increase M&M sales while supporting their investment with the NFL through their sponsorship. And so they go and tell the story of how they did this. And specifically, then they go into some more details. They use QR codes and different technology to engage consumers. And throughout this middle paragraph here, the second to last one, they show how the consumer really engaged with it. They show how the consumer was able to touch it, to open it, and to really get inspired with the game and with the Green Bay Packers and M&M's brands together. And the conclusion here, which I think is very important, is they give an actual stat, a quantitative stat about the success of their package, right? So I think we see a lot of entries that say, you know, our customer was really happy with this project. Sure. If you can provide a stat or a sales number, anything like that. So for example, they're talking about here about sales prices jumped 2.5 times higher than the normal M&Ms. So that was a clear win that was contributed by the packaging. And so it really goes through the story sort of outline: who, what, when, where, why, what was the problem, how did they solve it, and what was the conclusion. So it really takes the reader through the whole story of the package. And this is just a truncated version. This is the executive summary. So the full version with all those other categories will go into it goes into a lot more details. And it really just tells the whole story of the package. And it, you know, I guess makes it really come alive, and it makes an impression with the judges. And that was one of the clear reasons why it was able to get this top award last year. And so we also have the opportunity to show our judges photos and videos within the entry process. And Irene is going to talk next about sort of the tips. What do we want to see with video and imagery?
Want me to take this one, Irene?
Oh, I'm sorry, Emily.
No problem. So I love that, Brian. You know, and I think one of the kind of statements that the judges always say is that we want poetry in addition to prose. So kind of keep that in mind as you're writing your write up. You know, poetry and prose. So the hard facts, but also tell a story. And we all want to read a really interesting, compelling story. Photos and video tips. So not only do we want to read the story and be able to visualize it, but being able to see the product, see the package, and be able to really identify what the intricate details are. I know that last year there was a package that we had photographed, and the judges weren't able to identify what made it so special until they opened it up, and there was an inner flap, and I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it changed the entry, and it was in the kind of lowest category, if you will, and it moved into a top, and I think it ended up receiving a gold award, and the entry wasn't submitted with a video, and I will say that the judging process, you know, we really try to make sure that each entry can has the opportunity to be judged outside of just the application submission and the materials. But you're kind of leaving it up to the judges to kind of discover and find and figure it out for themselves. So there's this benefit of being able to submit photos and videos to help tell the story and tell the judges what makes each element so special. So our photo and video tips, really our first one that we use in so many different environments, even outside of just our Carton competition, is that your smartphone is a phenomenal camera, and it's a phenomenal tool, and it will allow you to create professional quality photos and videos. And we really you know, encourage you to take advantage of that. A really inexpensive stand on Amazon can help you kind of tilt and angle and hold your camera steady. That is one of my tips, is that make sure your camera is steady. It's a lot more pleasing to the eye when you're in one position. Lighting, you know, the soft and natural lighting often works much better. You can see Irene and Brian have some nice natural light, and I've got a yellow light, and it makes me look a little bit more like a pumpkin, and them a little bit more like a human. And so that soft natural lighting is really always going to be the way to go, and help not warp the colors of your package. Background, you know, obviously you don't want a distracting background, so find a blank wall. Set up a tabletop, you know, right up against a wall, decrease shadows, and really allow the package to shine. Noise and distractions, that's particular, you know, when you're creating a video. I think I have successfully turned off my email, my Slack, my project management software, all of those pesky sounds can just be a little irritating. And then preparing a thoughtful structure to lead yourself through the video, and to kind of get straight to the point. And what we mean by that is, we're not looking for you to read the entry. The judges are going to read your write-up. They really are. They're going to go through and make sure that all of the work that you put into the entry form is read and received. So I would tell you that preparing something that's a little bit different, again, finding a different way to showcase the package and the different elements, but get straight to the point. Don't waste their time, because a 7-minute video is pretty extensive and really hard to follow. So keep it short and sweet and to the point, but be thoughtful about how you open up the package and take a look at it. And the other thing to note, which is really important, and we really appreciate it if you do it at the phase of production, is that all photos and videos must be anonymous. And I think that adds to the integrity of this process. We, from a staff perspective, take a look at every entry that comes in, every photo, every video, and make sure that the company name is not identified, so that this really is truly an anonymous competition, so that small and large, organizations alike have the same opportunity to win an award, which is something that we're really proud of as part of this competition. So we ask that you don't add your company logo, because we're just going to have to find a way to take it off. Next up, we'll show you a video submission from WestRock in that same M&M's NFL package. And I will tell you that this is, they have obviously some professional equipment, including a turntable, and I don't think it's necessary. It's a fantastic video, but I want to encourage you, before you watch this video, that your iPhone can do similar things, just with a little bit of hand modeling. So Irene, will you press play for us, please?
Mars has a license with the National Football League, and we're looking for a packaging solution for M&Ms that would promote NFL fandom, engage current fans, and link one of the most enjoyable NFL snacks with their favorite local NFL team. In the case of this launch, that local team was the Green Bay Packers. Because they were looking to execute this quickly, our digital printing assets were the perfect fit. We developed a solution that involved digitally printed displays that would be placed in 13 different festival food stores in the Green Bay, Wisconsin area. The headers would be digitally printed so that they could be swapped out for new headers quickly and effortlessly, creating a dynamic test and learn opportunity. These displays were created in parallel with the cartons that contained the product. The cartons were constructed of a tray and a sleeve. The graphics for the sturdy premium tray were pre-printed with the vibrant Packers colors and an enthusiastic Go Pack Go text. The sealed pack of custom Packers M&Ms is placed in the tray, and then the tray is slid into a digitally printed sleeve. The sleeves for these packs were digitally printed each week with the statistics, team leaderboard, and final score of that week's game. Each sleeve featured a barcode as well that consumers could scan with their phones to get even more stats and highlights from that week's game. Additionally, the sleeves were given a serial number to promote the limited availability and collectability of each week's pack. Finally, a sticker was included on each pack to let consumers know that this M&M's pack was an NFL officially licensed product.
Thank you so much. So I think that you can see all of these tips and tricks applied to this video, and the way that they were able to create that and draw your attention to all of the elements that made that package and design so special. And before are we in timeline next, Irene? Oh no, submission do's and don'ts. Okay, so just as a wrap up, adding the energy and the excitement and the passion and the pride is going to be really important to this process. And I think that this is, to kind of take a moment. What's the benefit of winning winning an entry, there's, we kind of do 4 different categories of the benefits. The advertising materials, high resolution professional photos. You're receiving those advertising materials, and then you can use them for years to come, and that's going to showcase your passion and your pride. The trophies and the accolades, for top awards, you get a trophy that's going to hopefully proudly sit on your shelves for years to come. The industry recognition, the annual exposure, being showcased in the trade press. And I think that all of that supports the employee engagement and retainment, and being able to give your team a platform to be able to showcase your passion and the pride, and all of the people who come together. That's going to be the do at the bottom of here, is getting multiple people involved in the process. This is not we understand that the entries that come to us weren't touched by one person. So how do you get everybody involved to be able to tell the unique story of each of the each process point, and then on the other side, being able to celebrate them and say, hey, the hard work that you've put into this package not only serves an amazing purpose on the shelf, but it was also honored at the Oscars of the paperboard industry. So adding visuals, the photos and the videos, take advantage of this digital age that we are in, and the pandemic, which has forced us to be even more virtual than ever before. Take advantage of those learnings and add those into your submission, and then sharing the information from the benefit to the consumer, including the stats, as Brian had talked about. We all love metrics and reporting, and to be able to say it contributed to X amount increase of sales is going to be really important. And keep in mind the poetry in addition to prose when writing your submission. And then don't leave your submission into the last minute. We really, really would encourage you to reach out. Let us know that the packet, that your entry is coming. Get the write-up done early. Reach out to our team if there's a delay, but start this process early. Start this process now so that you can get multiple people involved in it and in the write-up and collecting the information, and it not having to be a painstaking task, but something that you can all enjoy. Assigning your submission to someone who is not familiar with the project. We have seen those submissions come through where, I'm not going to name who in the company might be writing the submission or putting together, compiling the information, but you can recognize when that person is really not intimately involved in the process and really can't speak to the story. And then don't repeat details. Again, that's from the write-up to the video, that we just ask that you respect the time of the judges, and that we think that that's a nice way to get your entry to be able to get the best exposure by being succinct in those details. And then I'm going to pass it over to Irene to really talk about the nitty-gritty, the timeline, and how to get your application and how to get started.
Thank you, Emily. So talking about the timeline today, what you can do to get this process started, you can visit paperbox.org/cc, which is your hub for the Carton competition and all of this information. There you can find a form where you can let us know that we should be expecting information from you, that we should be on the lookout for your submissions, so that if we haven't reached them or received anything by the deadline, we can reach out and say, make sure you get this in on time. Make sure that you're still planning to participate if you hit any bumps in the road. And so now through June 1st, we are accepting any submissions. You can send all of these forms, photos, videos to Kira@paperbox.org. That information is also available on /cc, as well as the form download and additional instructions. On October 28th, we plan to be live and in person at Fall Meeting in Savannah, Georgia, where we will have our awards ceremony as we have in years past to celebrate the winners of the 2021 competition. And then following the meeting, we'll open up a timeline for a few weeks for award plaques to be ordered so you can celebrate with your team, with your customer, that you now have an award-winning carton. So if you have any questions, you can visit paperbox.org/cc or email kira@paperbox.org directly for information.
Going to open up the floor to questions, and I'm wondering, Ben, would you like to chime in? We can promote you to panelists, or just love for you to share any other feedback or thoughts that we might have missed.
Well, hello everyone, it's Ben, and thank you for all coming. I think you guys did a great job. The judging is very rigorous about the write-up. I can tell you there was one case where two nearly identical cartons were submitted, and they had a really interesting opening feature, and one of the write-ups described the opening feature and why it worked and how it worked and what it did, and the other had the same opening feature, didn't describe it at all, and the judges gave one a gold award and the other nothing, because they said, well, I don't know, could we figure out what this opening feature, why it was so special? Not really. So that's my only tip for you all, and I think you all did a nice job.
Yes, a link will be sent out of this recording, so we'll share this with all of you, and it will also be available on our website. Oh, this is great. Sorry, I'm learning the chat functionality, but yes, it will be available. So you can take a look at this at a later time, and also reach out to us. We're here to help, and each last year was different than all of the other years. We had a virtual, mostly virtual. We had one in-person judge come through, and it was a really different environment. And our judges realized that they maybe donated 1.5 times the amount that they would have normally in person, because we are really just dedicated to this. And it's one of the most special times of the year. And I can tell you that we're talking about the top packages throughout the year, with the media and some of the top pages on our website when we're taking a look at reporting and what does well on social media and what are the links being clicked on in our digital newsletter. It's really around the carton competition and being able to showcase our members and the unbelievable design and solutions that they are adding. Any other questions?
So we got one came in. Do you treat self-promotional items differently from client-produced work? The answer to that one is yes. So we have a special category for self-promo, which each year yields some really, really lovely designs, right? Because that's when our members can really show off. And so that is the only category that is okay for you to include your name and your company info and all that kind of stuff. And all those items are eligible to take some top awards as well. So feel free to send your self promos. We will take them.
Great question.
Anything else?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and we really hope that you were able to learn something a little bit different about the process, and we can't wait to see your entries start to pile in. So thank you very much, and have a great day.